the biggest entrepreneur platform on the planet. This is Business Rockstars. This is Business Rockstars, and joining me is my guest, Yuna Kim. She's the founder and CEO of Simple Habit. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me here.
You bet. So tell us, what is Simple Habit?
Simple Habit is a 5-minute meditation app for busy people. So it's like Spotify in that there are top teachers in the space that are contributing their content. And we have meditations for different types of situations and moods, such as meditation for commuting, meditation before going to work, meditation before a meeting, and 500 other topics.
And that's really what makes this app unique, because I'm familiar with a few of the other meditation apps, but they're not so much mood-based, and often they just have one teacher who's the founder of the app, whereas you have many teachers. So tell me how you came up with that specific idea.
Yeah, so this I started meditating about 3 years ago when I was at my previous startup called Locket. And that's the company that I started, and I was really stressed. So I tried all kinds of stress-relieving techniques, and that included meditation. And so I tried all these meditation apps at that time, and I really liked a lot of them. But what happened was, after meditating for many months, I started to wonder, are there different type of teachers or techniques? So I started Googling or searching on YouTube for meditation, and I found that it was really hard to find a teacher, and it's hard for a regular consumer to know who's good and who's not. So that's when I was like, I need an app for myself that's designed to be able to browse different teachers and techniques, and not only that, I wanted to have different situations and mood-based.
So it's highly curated. Yeah, because I've gone on YouTube too to try and get a meditation, and you just never know what you're gonna get.
Right.
So how do you sift through the good leaders and the maybe greener leaders that you wouldn't want on your app?
Right. So I don't do that myself, because I'm a avid meditation consumer, but not so much an expert. So we have somebody on our team that was a former program director at this program called Search Inside Yourself, which was born out of Google. It's basically like a mindfulness training program, and she does vetting and for all these teachers and content.
Got it. So take me back to that first business that you created that ended up indirectly being the inspiration for this business. What made you, well, first of all, tell me about it, and what made you want to start it?
So this was in 2012.
And you were right out of college, right?
Yeah, I was in investment banking in New York at that time.
Okay.
And I was working long hours, and I changed my phone from iPhone to Android. And I remember thinking, the Android at that time, I think it was Galaxy S3, and the lock screen was just a blue screen. And I was thinking, this could be the next billboard. Because we were staring at this lock screen all the time. So then what we did was we started a company with my co-founders and to show the interesting content and advertisement on the lock screen. And that was the first company I started. And
what did you learn about entrepreneurship through that first business that you now take with you into your second business?
Number one thing is I didn't take care of myself. So I worked 24/7. So because I was used to working long hours, and I actually love working hard. So when I started Locket, I think we were working 100 hours a week.
Oh my goodness.
I lived with 5 other guys on our team in a 2-bedroom apartment, and we lived out of the bedrooms, and we worked out of the living room. And we were trying to get our every meal down to under $2-3. So we were eating hot dogs and pizzas, and I didn't take care of myself. I didn't work out. Sometimes I'd never left the building for a while. So
it caught up with you.
Yeah.
And you were feeling very, very stressed because you were very young. I mean, you're still young, but you were right out of college, and you were sharing with me earlier that you were managing people who were older than you, and there's a lot on your plate. And so this is where meditation came in. How did that change your career?
I am so glad that I found meditation because I was the kind of person that would be like, oh, I don't need meditation. I can solve my problems in my head. And actually, like when my friend asked me to meditate, I was like, oh, I don't need, that's not for me. And that was like only a few years ago. But it was like when I hit the rock bottom, I tried all these meditation, all these stress relieving techniques like massage or like lavender oil, and of all of them, meditation was the most like you can access anywhere, anytime you want. And you can do it for 5 minutes, you can do it for 30 minutes. So it's very, whereas like working out or meditate, or yoga, you have to get changed and there's like an hour, it's a little different.
It's a lot easier to incorporate into your day.
Right. So,
and I think sometimes people see meditation and they feel like it's kind of woo-woo, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna sit here and then it's gonna distress me. Yeah, right. But those of us who do it know it actually does work, and there's actually science to back it up too.
Right.
So what does it actually physically do to you to relax you?
For me, it lowers my, I think, heart rate. So when I get nervous, for instance, I was giving a talk at this thing called Product Summit. And it was like a 40 minutes talk in front of all these awesome product managers. And I wasn't like really good experienced product manager at that time. And so I felt really nervous. So I went into the waiting room and I meditated right before. And for the first time, like I didn't feel nervous at all. And I actually did really well in that talk. So it like really calms you down so that you can be prepared to do your best. At least that's for me. Sometimes, like when I feel really stressed, before I started meditating, I didn't realize that before. So like I would make all these decisions without knowing that I was stressed or like knowing my feelings. But now I'm more aware, so I can do something about it. So a lot of times at the office, when I feel stressed, I would meditate in the middle of the day, and it really helps me to focus well and like calm me down.
Wow. So for those who are watching who are brand new to meditation, just explain how meditation works, because it doesn't need to be super complex, right?
Right. So there are all kinds of different meditation techniques, but the one that I start with is like breathing in and breathing out. So if you try Simple Habit, there's this thing called Simple Habit Starter that is designed exclusively for beginners. And so there's meditation breathing techniques, there's like counting your breath techniques. There's also like body scan, like you feel your head, you feel your nose, you feel your chin, and it like surprisingly, it really calms you down.
For those who maybe are in a more traditional workplace, is it something that you can do without even people knowing?
Actually, I did that at Lockett, so I didn't feel that comfortable letting other people know about the fact that I'm meditating.
Yeah, like you don't have to sit cross-legged with your hands like this, right?
So I had an earbuds, and I used an app. So I went to the restroom to do it because I felt a little embarrassed about it for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah. Okay, so there's a way of hiding it if you want to when you're
go
first
into the
starting
stall, like the bathroom stall, and then with your headsets.
I love it.
Yeah, you can do it.
So what kind of meditation? How does it work? What are the benefits?
So we use Simple Habit, and then we usually just have one of the team members to choose which topic they want, and then we do it. But we also have meditation designed for before meetings. So you know, a lot of times, like so in the middle of the day, like after lunch, somebody on our team will suggest, "Hey, do you guys want to meditate?" We don't have a scheduled calendar because I think that one would. Sometimes like people have meetings and people can skip. So we just do it impromptu all the time or right before a meeting. And we just get together and use this app and you just like listen to it. And the benefit is that a lot of times when you go into a meeting, you bring with you all these things that happened to you before. So let's say I'm like writing an email and I suddenly go into this like meeting about product. I'm like thinking about this other thing. So I can't be really present sometimes. Or maybe like you're emotionally like, you know, maybe upset about something or not so you're tired today. But when you start with a meditation, it really grounds you and have everyone to be like there for the meeting. So I think it makes it really more productive. The meetings are more productive and usually people just feel really good.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah.
Everyone needs to try that.
Yeah.
So
It's a
great.
Great team bonding experience.
Great. Well, so much more when we come back with my guest, Yuna Kim. She's the founder and CEO of Simple Habit. This is Business Rockstars, and my rock star today, Yuna Kim. She's the founder and CEO of Simple Habit. Now, we were talking about your first business. You ended up selling it, and then you went to business school at Stanford. Simultaneously, you were starting this app kind of as a hobby for yourself. So tell me about that time and how you ended up turning it into a business.
So when I was at Stanford, I was working on it on the side. So I went to classes, and like after classes, I would work on it with our designer, engineer, and we just got featured on the App Store a lot, and our revenue started growing very fast. And
so you tested it out, which is very common and recommended in business when you have an idea to have your minimum viable product, test it, see if there's a demand, and you saw right away there was.
Yes.
So when you decided that you really wanted to accelerate this app, turn it into a business because you knew there was something there and that it worked, it's a passion of yours, what were those next steps to really go full force with it?
Yeah, so I first left Stanford. That was only a few months ago, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, so, but they don't allow you to come back. So it was a pretty difficult decision.
How did you ultimately make that decision?
So I thought about one option was to do both, but then the other thing was I thought that I would regret it if, let's say, Simple Habits for some reason doesn't do well later. Then I would regret thinking, oh, it's because I didn't do full force. And I thought that this would be one of the rare opportunities in my career where the product that I'm working on is so well aligned with my own passion and need. And I love my team that I work with, and the space is amazing. So I thought that this would be one of the few opportunities that I will have.
Yeah. And you have an awesome company culture. You started right away creating that. First of all, we know that you meditate during work, so that's awesome. But you were also telling me off camera that you do what you call stand-ups. Tell me what that is.
Stand-ups, so a lot of the startups do this. But this is basically everyone on the team, and I think it's probably applicable for companies that are smaller. So if you're at Airbnb, I don't know if probably smaller teams can do this. So you basically stand up and you talk about what you did yesterday.
Each individual does.
Each individual.
So for instance, you have 5 employees, is that right?
Yes.
So all 6 of you
we'll go
individually and talk about what?
One, what did you do yesterday? And number 2, what are you going to do today? And number 3 is how can other people help you do better? Are there any obstacles, any problems that you're trying to solve that other people can help you with?
Awesome. Yeah. So there's accountability, and then there's some interconnectedness too, because sometimes I'm sure in businesses it can feel like you don't know how your coworkers are contributing, or even sometimes maybe how you're contributing directly to what's most important, the goals and the vision of the company.
Yeah, it really helps people be aligned with the company's goal.
And you're very strategic in creating the 5-minute meditation. Why is that?
So this is something that I played around with myself and experimented with, how come it's so hard to create a habit? And what I found, so actually this is backed by research, which is it's much more helpful to do, even if it's 5 minutes every day, rather than if you compare that to meditating 1 hour within a month of time. So 5 minutes every day makes it very easy to do it. Every day, whenever you wake up in the morning. That's actually the first most common time people meditate. When you first wake up in the morning, before going to check your emails or doing all these things, you start with a meditation. That sets the tone.
Totally. No, I have found a huge difference on days where I go to grab my phone, scrolling through Instagram, which admittedly are a lot of days, versus the days that I do something nice for myself. Sometimes it's a meditation, maybe it's journaling, and it just puts you in a different frame of mind and a better mood.
there is like a very temporary benefit to feeling like calm, but also very long-term benefit, which is that you're able to pick up on your own feelings. So today, this morning when I was driving here, I felt a little stressed because I got all these emails. Monday you have a lot of emails,
Totally.
and we use Slack internally with our team. And I had like 68 Slack messages that I haven't read, and I didn't want to get started yet because once I am in the mood, like I start doing it.
Right.
So then I felt a little stressed. So I started look around. This is one of the techniques. You look around in your car and you look at different colors. So I noticed that there were green from trees, and I live in San Francisco, but I think it's greener here. So I noticed all these trees, and I noticed buildings that were like red, different colors, and I started appreciating them, and I felt very grounded.
That's amazing. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time today. And if you haven't tried meditation yet, now we know why. I can't wait to check out your app. Thanks so much again.
Thanks.
My guest, Yuna Kim, founder and CEO of Simple Habit. We're here to inspire, inform, and connect a community of entrepreneurs. This is Business Rockstars. After this short break, more Business Rockstars. Welcome back to Business Rockstars. Now let's go to Mark Lack.
I'm Mark Lack. This is Business Rockstars, and we're here to inspire, inform, and connect a community of entrepreneurs. Lawrence Wayner is joining us right now. He's the CEO of BDIC. It's a pleasure to have you on the show with us.
My pleasure. Thank you very much for having me this morning.
So BDIC, what do you guys do?
We are a criminal offender monitoring company. We do breath alcohol ignition interlock devices for DUI offenders with a future outlook on ankle monitoring for different types of criminal offender monitoring, whether it's home-based, work-based, whatever the case may be.
Well, we've had a lot of people come through the doors. We've never had somebody come in who's got that kind of a business.
Right.
How'd you get into this space?
Well, it's kind of a long story. I started I had a friend of mine who was a DUI attorney who mentioned to me the opportunity and the new laws that were passing. I had a very large tax resolution business that, the government had changed some rules. We had to, change some things. I was looking for a new business to get into. So I took the money I made there and got into this criminal offender monitoring space as these laws have gotten tougher and tougher over the last few years.
So the business, how do you actually monetize it? What do you guys do?
We lease the devices to the offender.
The breathalyzer devices?
The breathalyzer, right,
Okay.
which is installed in their vehicle and monitors their breath alcohol level. If they blow positive over a 0.02, because it's basically zero tolerance, they've already been convicted of an offense, then their vehicle will not start and they can't drive their vehicle. Also, a lot of states have gone to compliance-based removal, so if they get enough of those or any of those in the last several months of their sanction, they'll have to keep it even longer. So we lease that to them on a monthly basis. Once they're done with the program and the state allows them to remove that from the vehicle, they return that to us, and we just put it in somebody else's vehicle, and we collect monthly fees, monthly revenue on a reoccurring basis.
So what's been like maybe one or two of your biggest failures you've made in business? And on the other end of it, you came out with like some lessons, because at the end of the day, that's what we do, right? We fail, we learn, we fail, we learn.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
we can get to a place of success eventually.
Absolutely, and I am a lifelong entrepreneur, and when you are a lifelong entrepreneur, there's ups and there's downs, and
Always.
you got to zig and you got to zag, otherwise, you just get punched in the face. And as Mike Tyson said, everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face. So, like I said, I had a very large tax resolution business. We were making a ton of money. I had, close to 70 employees. And one day I woke up, the government changed the rules. And they said, that's the rules. We're changing the rules. You can no longer operate under those conditions. And you're basically stuck out of business or, so.
It's crazy how that can just happen.
It can just happen.
What do you feel like is the hardest thing about breaking away from like the 9-to-5 job into the entrepreneur space?
Well, I know everybody talks about risk and walking away from that weekly paycheck, that weekly budget that you know how much you're going to get paid and how much your car payment is and your rent payment at the end of the week. You got enough and you got it covered. I know that's, obviously the the one part of it. And, you know, you got to make sure you've got funds. So
cash flow management.
Cash flow management. You know, you got to do the sales. Again, if you can do the sales,
it always comes back to the
you
sales.
can generate the cash to keep going.
Yeah.
If you can do the sales, you don't have to rely on loans and different types of stuff. I mean, it really depends on the type of business, but you know, you've got to assume the risk, and there's lots of risk. Obviously, you can go broke. You can credit scores take a hit. Things like that happen when you're an entrepreneur because life just happens, and it's just a risky business. But the rewards can be great, and beyond the money that one can make as being an entrepreneur, you always have this, you know, warm, fuzzy feeling that you've employed people. You know what I mean? I always say the one thing they can put on my gravestone is I hired some people in my day. You know, I created jobs, I made jobs, I paid people, and I think that, you know, that's a benefit to everybody if you can create jobs and help people work and
I love that.
Keep the economy going like that.
So outside from that, you kept saying sales, 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 sales.
Correct.
So if somebody's not good at sales, which I hear as the excuse all the time, I'm sure you've heard it as well.
Correct.
They go, well, if I got to start my business, I got to bring sales in, but I'm not good at it, or I don't like feeling salesy. How does somebody overcome that? If you're the only one responsible for sales, it's just you.
Practice, practice, practice.
Okay.
But there's no valuable lesson like experience. You just have to put on the jacket, put on the blue uniform, whatever it takes, and get out there and do it. There's nothing going to prepare you for it, but just doing it. It really isn't that hard. All it is talking to people and, you know, trying to, you know, listen, obviously there are people that just don't have the personality for that. You know, I would say that if you dig deep enough, it's in there for everybody who really wants it. If you really want it, you'll find that spirit. You'll find that inspiration to pick up the phone, call your target customer, and spit it out and ask for the sale and see what happens. All they can do is say no.
Yeah, I love what you're saying.
All they can do is say no.
At the end of the day, you got to put in the reps, you got to put in the practice, and nothing trumps experience.
Nothing trumps experience, and just doing it, pick up the phone, like I said, ask for the sale, and all they can do is say no.
That's right, all they can do is say no. We'll be right back with Lawrence Wainer to find out more of his keys to success. I'm Mark Lack. This is Business Rockstars. Connecting a community of entrepreneurs is what we do, so you can join us on Facebook, Twitter, and online at businessrockstars.com.
I mean, the movie business today, studio-wise, it's so easy for them to go into their grab bag and say, we're just going to make another Fast and Furious.
Rubber stamp this.
Yeah, we're going to make another Jurassic World. It's clearly a brand that works. So to create other things, it's really going to pop off the page and create an opportunity that's both marketable. And today, with Twitter and Facebook,
right.
Believe me, the NWA movie, Dre and Cube, if they didn't have millions of fans on Twitter, we wouldn't have seen how successful this movie was going to be.
Welcome back to Business Rockstars. Now let's go to Mark Lack.
I'm Mark Lack. This is Business Rockstars, and we're here to inspire, inform, and connect a community of entrepreneurs. Lawrence Wainer is joining us right now. He's the CEO of BDIC. Recap for us what your business does.
Well, like I said, we're in the criminal offender monitoring space, mainly focused right now on alcohol ignition interlock devices, which are laws in all 50 states. We're trying to get approved in all 50 states. We're currently approved in 11, functionally operating in approximately 7 of them, because we have incredible demand for the product, and we've just received some funding to manufacture a couple thousand units, and we'll put those out on the road here pretty soon and get those monetized and into our reoccurring revenue stream.
That's fantastic. We were just talking about how, you know, when is the right time to raise money? A lot of people are trying to raise money, and it may or may not be right for their business. How did you know that it was the right move to raise close to $1 million for your business?
Well, it was based on sales demand. I knew that I had a demand for the product. I know that I needed money to manufacture my product. My product we manufacture overseas. pretty expensive. There's, pretty intensive technology within this thing because there's live reporting, there's GPS, and a lot of stuff in there. So I had a particular hurdle to cross where I had this huge demand for my product. And I don't mean like individual demand from individual offenders. The way we're growing our business, and something we would like to talk about is how we're focused on growing our business, is to find, there are, in this business, a state-of-the-art breath alcohol ignition interlock device is not so much a concern of the consumer, although consumers always drive sales. It's more of a function of the people that are in the industry, the judges, the probation officers, the parole officers, the Department of Motor Vehicles, whoever you're doing the reporting to, as well as the people who deal with these devices on a daily basis. These distributors who have been distributors of some of our major competitors for many years, but are working with very old and ancient equipment. Our plan is to go in there and flip those distributors over to our device. This way we put 600 units or 1,600 units out in the market overnight, as opposed to one criminal offender at a time. That would take, years and years and years to do.
Innovation, that's kind of the key here. I feel like that's what's giving you a competitive edge.
Correct. We have just a better machine that's reaching the modern requirements that the states are changing their laws to. 5 years ago, no state required a camera on the device to determine that the person blowing is actually the person who has
I could
the
just
conviction.
be like, yo, homie.
Right, he's not just giving it to his kid and saying, blow on it. Right, so
I'll give you a candy bar.
So states are going to camera technology. Some of our competitors, their device doesn't have the ability to do that. It just doesn't have the hardware to do that. The live reporting is a function of being able to...
That's the trend, though, is in any business, we want real-time data. If it's me spending marketing dollars, if it's, in this case, for blowing, for criminals, it doesn't matter what it is. People want real-time data.
And my competitors do not have that software.
It reminds me of like a Blockbuster Netflix. Like Blockbuster felt like they had dominated and established the contracts with the customers, essentially.
And then
Netflix
didn't even
comes
see
in.
it coming. And they
or
didn't
Kodak
even see it.
with film versus digital.
Correct. They don't even see it coming.
Why is that, though? I mean, even in your industry,
you don't see it coming?
It goes across all industries. People establish themselves.
When you're making money, you get into a kind of a comfort zone where you just don't want to hear anything different. You know what I mean?
I think it's the 6 most deadly words. We've always done it this way. Get out of here.
We've always done it this way, right? 30 years ago, someone told me to hammer this nail, and I've been doing it for 30 years, and I'm not doing it anymore.
This is how I built it.
And this is how I built it.
So what can you do in business, then, for the small businesses out there? What's the lesson here? How can we make sure that we don't put our horse blinders on and start to ignore the trends, ignore the technology that we could be and should be benefiting from?
Well, again, I think it's easier today than it used to be. There's a lot of information out there. It's pretty easy.
We're used to change now.
Yeah, we're used to change now, but I think that now, if you with the LinkedIn's and the way industries have become, the sharing technology where people are willing to be open. With 30 years ago, if you went and spoke to a competitor of yours, it was all a secret. Nobody would tell you anything. Today, that's changed. Today, you can go to your competitors. They're more than happy to tell you how they do it and how, they did it this way or that way. And
everything's become about social sharing and
with social media and social sharing, everything's about open sourcing and open sharing that everybody's so into that today that I think if you just do enough of it and you put yourself out there, the information is there. And I'm guilty of not doing, I'm a little older now. The social media thing for me is not easy.
You could outsource it, though.
Yeah, but I mean, me personally going on LinkedIn and replying to people, it's not something I do as much as I should. I'm guilty of it myself, but people should do it more. There's a lot of information out there, and like I said, many competitors today are willing to share with you, which didn't exist 30 years ago. It just didn't.
So we've covered some awesome things. I think one of the biggest themes was selling, selling, selling.
Right.
Whether you're the one doing it or you have to build a team, sales is one of the most important things.
100%.
What are you guys doing for unique marketing? Because selling and marketing kind of go hand in hand. They support each other. What are you doing to generate new leads or be aware of new opportunities to prospect?
Well, our major function, again, is dealing with the gatekeepers in this industry. So we have set up very strategic partnerships with, in California, for example, the gatekeeper is the driving school. The
DMV.
The DMV sanctions the offender to go to X number of hours of actual driver training school.
Okay.
Once they complete those hours in that school, they're now eligible for our device, which makes them eligible to get their driver's license reinstated. Make sense?
Okay.
Does
Yeah.
it make sense?
So that's the main gatekeeper. So the question.
So we've established partnerships with some of those schools here in California, where they used to have a table with all the different
options,
different flyers out there, and maybe they would get a cookie or something once a year from one of our competitors. We've basically gone and swooped that table of everybody's flyers.
It's just your option.
It's just us. We've made exclusive partnerships with many schools here in California. We're going to continue to do that, where they are integrating their sign-up of the school with our device. And obviously we give them, sort of commission for that.
Yeah.
And those are strategic partnerships that we've developed there.
What I love about it is that you've established yourself as a preeminent option and brand through innovation and sales. And you guys have, like you said, sweep the table of the other options.
Correct.
You've established yourself as a preeminent brand.
Correct.
You're a rock star, Lawrence. I appreciate you for coming on the show, brother.
Thanks very much for having me, man. I really appreciate it, bud.
I'm Mark Lack. This is Business Rockstars. Connecting a community of entrepreneurs is what we do. So you can join us on Facebook, Twitter, and online at businessrockstars.com.
Do you have a great idea for a product or a business you know is worth millions, but you don't know how or where to start? Are you tired of building somebody else's dream? Well, go build your own. BusinessRockstars.com is an amazing resource for anybody who wants to become an entrepreneur, to start or grow your own business. Go to BusinessRockstars.com. BusinessRockstars.com.
This is Business Rockstars, and my rock star today, Chris Valencia. He is the CEO and co-founder of Hit Bottle. Thanks so much for being here.
No, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So here it is, Hit Bottle. Tell me all about it.
Hit Bottle. This product actually took place, the whole idea took place back in 2014. And the Hit Bottle is the first multi-purpose insulated stainless steel bottle that it's actually out there. It actually fits anything between having the ability to be able to mix your supplements up to kind of have your own infuser and tumbler cup in there. So,
very cool. Let's take a closer look. Show me how it works.
So a cool feature behind the bottle is that one of the things that we wanted to do is kind of avoid any type of bacteria buildup, especially when it comes to the mouthpiece. So the cap was actually inspired on a 1930s Ford radiator cap. So it actually locks, unlocks, so it makes it very easy for you to open, going through your day-to-day activities.
Because how is it normally when it is susceptible to the bacteria?
So let's say, for example, everything that's out in the market, especially supplement mixers, the first thing that you do, you open it from the mouthpiece. So let's say you're working out, touching all those dirty weights, you pretty much open it, and all the bacteria has been added to the mouthpiece. So,
and again, this one works like how?
So when you unlock it, pops open.
Got
so
it.
you don't have to touch the mouthpiece.
Cool.
So
very detailed.
It is, and as you can see, we put a lot of effort into the whole aesthetics. The whole product has been created from scratch. Everything from the rounded bottom base, which kind of prevents any type of bacteria buildup, makes it a lot easier for you to be able to clean your bottle. Just rinse it with a little bit of water, you'll be good to go.
So what can we see inside of the bottle?
So one of the things that we ended up creating on this new design, we actually ended up creating a single attachment that actually screws into the cap, whether it's for supplements. And the other attachment that we created, it's for a fruit or tea infuser. And one of the things that we wanted to do is kind of combine all of our passion for fitness, wellness into one bottle. Like I mentioned to you, this is the only bottle that kind of gives you the functionality for you to be able to go from a mixer to an infuser to a tumbler cup. So you can pretty much go in the morning, drink your protein shaker, to the afternoon being able to drink your infused water, to, let's say, Taco Tuesday, you just go out for a beer. So you could actually use it for anything. So
that's awesome. So it really streamlines everything and eliminates excess products.
Exactly.
This product has evolved a lot from the original one. Tell me a little bit about that.
The first product was very guided towards the fitness community. we had an idea, but just like any other product, it takes time and dedication for you to be able to continue evolving into the ideal product. There's never going to be a perfection when it comes to product. It's more about evolving time after time. So,
And how did you know that you needed to evolve? Were you listening to your customers?
yes, actually Kickstarter and being able to build a customer base, that's what's been helping us to pretty much get to where we are right now. Being able to listen to their feedback, what's good, what's bad. And trust me, a lot of times what's bad, it's actually what's going to get you to the next level. Like I mentioned to you, we had what was the ideal, perfect idea, but in reality, once you start listening to your customers, you kind of start listening and understanding a little bit more of the direction of the product.
And you and your wife left your corporate jobs for this. Tell me about that transition.
The first year, we literally ended up making every single mistake that we could have made, not only as a company, but also as business owners. We didn't know what it was going to take to be able to kind of grow the company to the next level, not only from a customer service standpoint to also from a product standpoint. So it's been a journey which we're super excited about.
Let's talk about one mistake, one lesson that you learned the hard way so our entrepreneurs hopefully don't have to.
Yeah. I will have to say that manufacturing, it's a key element when it comes to creating a product. We have gone above and beyond to make sure our product, it's up to the quality standards of our customers and also quality standards of pretty much being able to bring the product here in the U.S. One of the biggest issues that we had initially was that we ended up having this huge amount of success through our first Kickstarter campaign that, we were still working our corporate jobs, and unfortunately, we ended up sourcing it through the wrong company. And especially when it comes to creating a product, you have to be as involved as you can when it comes to the manufacturing aspect. That's been one of the biggest hiccups that we had over the past couple of years, just overcoming the transition from one manufacturing to the other.
All right, well, when we come back, we're going to find out how to pick the right manufacturing company. Thank you so much. We'll be back in just a little bit with Chris Valencia, CEO and co-founder of Hit Bottle.
Hardworking, great thoughts, amazing work ethic. That's an entrepreneur. I was a visiting nurse when I first started, and that taught me a lot of patience. And you need patience in this job, a lot, and just in life, but patience. Yes and no. I never doubted that I couldn't do anything. That's just kind of the way my mom and dad raised me. But I did kind of fall into this. Although I did go to school for fashion, I just never thought I'd be owning my own business. Well, this is pretty fabulous. And I like my new showroom. Since this is the newest addition to the Joke and Style, I would say my new showroom. Study harder, listen to your teachers. Oh, if I could go back to like high school and take some test over again, I would do that. I would say just work hard in school. Don't give up. Keep on working. If you have to work 3 jobs to start your business, do it. It's worth it in the end. My partner, Ashley, and I, we just kind of talk it through, and through the conversations, we'll find an answer, a solution to something.
This is Business Rockstars. My guest is Chris Valencia, CEO and co-founder of Hit Bottle. And before break, we were talking about choosing the right manufacturing company and how important that is. You learned the hard way, but you got it right now. So how do you choose the correct manufacturing company for your business?
Every business is going to be a little bit different. There's ways that you could actually outsource some of those resources that you're going to need for you to be able to create your product. So let's say, for example, there's industrial designers that could actually handle the conceptual design from start to manufacturing. So One of the things that I would recommend to everyone that's thinking about creating a product, you have to make sure that you're 100% committed to it, and try to interview at least 4 or 5 different industrial design companies that are actually going to understand the direction of the product. Like I was telling you, I mean, it's definitely going to come into the whole point of how committed you are. As of this moment, we have taken the whole product and production into our own hands for us to be able to manage not only product design, manufacturing, shipping. So everything's actually being done in-house. We have spent quite a bit of time overseas making sure that our manufacturing company understands our vision, not only when it comes to production, but also on a legal standpoint as well.
Let's go back to the beginning when you were first starting out. One of the hardest things is funding your project. You found success with Kickstarter that helped get you how far?
Really far, 2 years into business, let's just put it that way.
Yeah. But you're partially self-funded as well.
That is correct.
And it really helped you having a finance background, didn't it?
Yes. I mean, I come from a corporate background when it comes to being able to manage a portfolio of business owners that had annual revenues between 5 up to 20 million. So I had the ability to interact with a lot of those business owners, kind of understand more about their cash flow needs, and understand how the seasonality of the business works. So Kickstarter was definitely a good avenue for us to be able to get the product out there. The first Kickstarter actually ended up doing 125K. A portion of those proceeds actually ended up helping us pay for the tooling and pay for upcoming inventory itself. However, keep in mind that even though you might get 100,000, 200,000 to funding, you have to make sure that you know some of the financial background that actually goes into place. A lot of people don't know that, yeah, I mean, tooling might be able to change, new fees might be able to get added to it, and unless you know your final cost or how much it's going to take for you to be able to bring the product here to the final delivery, which is going to be the customer, then if you don't have those numbers in place, then a lot of times, yeah, funding might be great, but if you don't have the additional funding, you might be on the red.
And Kickstarter worked really well for you the first time, so well that you wanted to do it a second time. So tell me about this newest Kickstarter campaign.
So the new Kickstarter campaign that we ended up launching, we got funded within 3 business days. We hit our $25,000 goal. And this time around, what we wanted to do, it's going to take a second approach of not doing any type of marketing whatsoever, because we knew that Kickstarter was pretty much all in or all out, in a sense that you can make a big impact in a small group of people, or you can make a smaller impact on a large scale.
And which is better?
I would say we're trying to go after the big impact on the smaller scale, because our customer base is going to understand more about our product.
To really connect with a more niche audience.
Exactly.
And loyal fans.
Exactly. I want to say 87%, I was looking at the analytics today, 87% of the funding has actually come through our own platforms. As of this moment, we're getting very little visibility through Kickstarter, so everything's been coming through social media, everything that we have done over the past couple of weeks. But yeah, I mean, Kickstarter is great. It's a great marketing tool. I believe their existing audience is at 19 million subscribers that are actually backing projects on a daily basis. Out of those 19 million, I think 8.3 are actually US based, which is definitely giving us the ability to kind of expand our product into a broader market. And we're going to continue launching Kickstarter campaigns. We want to be known as the company that has launched every single product that they have created through Kickstarter.
So if our audience wants to support your Kickstarter campaign, what do they get and how do they do it?
So through Kickstarter on this new campaign, they actually get, they have the ability to back the project with 1 bottle if they want to, or they have the ability to pretty much order multiple quantities. It goes up to 10 bottles itself. And with this new product, you actually get the whole lifestyle package. You get the new redesigned mixer that it's made out of 18/8 stainless steel, the infuser, and the tumbler cup itself. So that total investment, if you were to pretty much get 4 bottles that are actually going to perform of what we're actually doing into 1 bottle, you're looking at least $200, which you're actually getting a pretty decent deal that it's less than $45 through our Kickstarter campaign.
Awesome. We'll check it out. Chris, thank you so much for your time today.
No, not a problem. Thank you for having us.
You bet. Chris Valencia, CEO and co-founder of Hit Bottle.
Thanks for sharing the time with us, and we'll see you next time on Business Rockstars.